Today we are back for Wedding Planning Wednesdays. And before we get started, I just wanted to check in. It's still January. It's the third week of January, and January is still being January, if you know what I mean. I just feel like I'm still getting back into the swing of things, in the routine. I have been seeing a lot of just things on the internet about people feeling uneasy with the economy and with everything. So I just wanted to check in. I'm feeling it too, as a small business owner, just someone who is trying to make a living on her own. And yeah, I definitely have feelings about that, but we can save that for another day if we get into it. And I'm not going to share the full story right now, but last week I almost got, and I will leave it at that. And I think it stemmed, though, from feelings of uneasiness. And I was in a vulnerable position. So that's what happened. If there's enough interest, if you want to hear more about it, tell me in the comments and maybe I will share it with you. I did not forget this week. I am going to start every week with sharing something that enhances my life in a small way, a big way, usually small ways right now. So since it is January, trying to shed some of that holiday weight, also trying to save money, so not eating out and things like that. And during the week, we are being very diligent about what we eat and being very healthy, but sometimes we do snack. Or we actually snack daily after dinner. And Skinny Pop really takes us through the night sometimes. And just depending on the day, you can adjust how much you eat, but it's just a great snack because it's 150 calories for 28 grams, which is an ounce, which is it's like a pretty big portion, to be honest. So I really love popcorn because of that. And so I just wanted to point this out. I'm sure most of you have eaten this or tried it. And sometimes it's not the best tasting, but sometimes you get those really buttery pieces and salty pieces that are good. But if you want to kind of enhance this, you can also spray avocado oil. And we add a little bit of avocado oil and some salt just to make it a little more flavorful. You can also add a ton of other kinds of seasonings, but you know what? I could probably do a whole episode on Skinny Pop, but I won't because that's not what this is about. But this bag is from Costco. I love Costco because you just get so much bang for your buck, obviously. And that kind of takes us into today's topic, which is the term wedding tax. And we're gonna go dive deeper into it. But if this is your first time here, thank you for being here. My name is Jane Yu, your favorite online wedding planning expert. And I really love supporting engaged couples, brides, grooms, fiancés, plan and design their wedding step by step. And my intention is to really help you make intentional decisions and choices that are best for your wedding day. If you watch this video and you find it helpful, it would really, really help me if you press that like button and also subscribe to my channel for more weekly wedding planning Wednesdays. And I also post YouTube shorts for more content. So would really, really appreciate your support in that way if this content resonates with you. So today's topic, wedding tax, I have been just seeing a lot of, things about budgets, people complaining about how expensive things are and being upset about it on threads, on Instagram, everywhere. And I totally understand. Weddings are expensive. And, they say the average cost of a wedding is around $30,000. I mean, obviously, all over the US, market prices are very different. So even in Los Angeles, it's something like $35,000. And it's also, there's no context about it, like how many guests or like anything like that. And so I think I wanted to just come here and provide some context into that. I don't love the term, first of all, wedding tax. when people are talking about it, because they're insinuating that just because it's a wedding, vendors mark up their prices. And while that may be true, like if you were reaching out for like a birthday party or like something else, like the pricing might be different, but it's because there's more work that goes into it. And so I don't like the term wedding tax because I feel like it diminishes the work of the vendors and the professionals who are really putting their kind of heart and soul into their work. And I think it's unfair to just blanketly say, oh, you're just charging more because it's a wedding, when there's a lot more nuances than that. And I put out a call on Threads, or not call, but a question asking, hey, what do you think wedding tax is, and explain it to me. And so someone said that, oh, it's like if you're buying you can go buy a bouquet at Trader Joe's for $15, but then florists charge, $200 to $300 for a bouquet. And it just gives me a little glimpse into what people thought. That's not saying that everyone thinks like this person, but I just wanted to see, because I just wanted to see what the perception is of what that is. So I also Googled it because I was just wondering like when this term was coined, like who brought it up or who thought it up. And there wasn't really like a specific answer, but I guess it was around 10 years ago when people, like couples, people getting married, were just talking about prices for weddings and all of that. And it is interesting because around that time, I feel like was when Instagram and social media was really getting big. And so I feel like people were really trying to make such big splashes and do it for the content and all this stuff. And so, they said that they did I think it was Forbes or like Consumer Reports or something like that. Sorry, I don't have the proper information, but they did some kind of secret shopper study where like they would call for an event and say what it was for, and then they would call like not a non-wedding, and then they would call and say it was for a wedding, and then the prices would be different. And so I just thought it was interesting. But I wanted to just provide some context. I'm not trying to complain, or I don't want to make it seem like I don't understand how expensive weddings are. But I think it's a little bit unfair to blame it on wedding vendors who have businesses and are trying to make a living and have the experience. Like, you are paying for someone for their service, just like you would with any other service. Like when you're getting your nails done, or you get a lawyer for something, or an accountant, like you're paying for someone's expertise. And it's the same thing when it comes to weddings. And so I used to get really triggered whenever I saw language about this online, but I've kind of let it process, and I've kind of wanted to, especially right now, because things are really kind of it feels a little bit unstable, right? A lot of people are going through it. And so I wanted to address it, and I just wanted to provide some context about it. So let's say you're looking for a new job, and you have like 10 years of experience, and you're looking for a new job in the same industry, a higher position, and you want $100,000 for your salary. So you go ask for it, and they come back to you and they're like, no, that's too expensive, right? And they try to tell you like, you're not worth this because of X, Y, and Z or whatever, or they can afford it, but you're gonna be like, no, I'm gonna pass on this opportunity because I know that I'm worth this much and I want this much because this is what I'm valued at, like my expertise and my experience and all of that. And if you think about it, wedding vendors are, they're solopreneurs, small business owners or whatnot, but they should have value too for their experience and their service. Just as if you're looking for a job, you want to get paid what you're worth. And so when it comes to wedding planners, I wanted to get some context into what I do. I have a lot of event planning experience, from brand events to corporate to whatever. And I feel like for what experience I have, I don't charge my clients enough. But I am also new to the wedding planning business, so I am trying to build a business. And so I try to charge competitively for the services that I offer. So I do the math because I track my time with every client, because I want to be able to build the business and scale the business properly as the years go by. So I need to know how much time I'm putting in per client. And so when I do the math, it's about average across the board. I charge mostly a flat fee, and then I charge additional for certain things. And after expenses and all that, I average maybe about $60 an hour. Now, if you extrapolate that into like a full-time job, let's say 40 hours a week, it comes out to around 115K. I took out like the 4 hours of PTO when you're not working, but still getting paid. So if you work 40 hours a week for 48 weeks at $60 an hour, it's about $115,000. Now, if I were to go out and look for a job as like an events director or something like that, at a big event company, then I would definitely, most likely be making more than that. I made more than that at my last full-time job, and I would want to probably make at least 150, like if I was looking for an external job. And so that goes to say, I put in X amount of time per client and I make an average of that much, when I feel like I should be actually making a lot more. But also when it comes to the business, I have to pay for my own health insurance, and I have to set up my own IRA account. I don't get 401k, and I don't get all those benefits. And again, I'm not here to complain. It's just putting things into perspective about why business owners need to charge a certain amount. It's because they have to live, and also because, they have to pay for things like employees and assistants and expenses and all of this stuff. And that's also not taking into account all the time that we spend doing sales, like discovery calls, maybe free consultations, marketing, social media, etc. Building systems, like all of that is considered kind of unpaid work, building the business. But that's part of the service that I provide to my clients, is I build all of these things and I work on all of these things so I can show up as a better planner for you, for the couples. And so if you think about it in that way, and also I'm not working like all the time, right? Like I have to go out and chase the clients, find clients to work with. And so I'm privileged enough so far to have been able to make a living doing things that I want to do for the most part. A lot of times I have to take gigs that I don't want to do. Like I have to freelance for other companies just to kind of fill in those gaps. And that's something that I am willing to do, or that I know I have to do, because that's just the nature of building a business. So that's me for planning. Now, I have a lot of insight into my husband's work. John, he's a DJ, and I see how much dedication he has. I can't speak for all DJs out there, but I can speak for him. Like he works on his craft. When he has a client, he works, puts in many hours outside of that wedding day, puts in many hours prepping, like practicing announcements, practicing mixing, putting thought into how the night is going to go, having backup plans if he thinks, he's unsure of like what the crowd is going to react to. Like there's so many things that go into it. And you wonder, if you're wondering why, they charge, DJs charge like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, like the people who are really good at what they do, it's because they prepare for that day. It's not just showing up and setting up speakers and like pressing play. Like that's really not what it is. There might be DJs that do that. I don't know. But I'm just speaking from what I see John doing. And the amount of hours, I don't know if he tracks his hours, but if he did, I honestly don't know what that hourly rate would be, right? But he does it because he wants to make sure the client has the best experience possible. And to do that, you have to prepare. And so that's kind of our mindset and approach. And for us, I'm always willing to work, or not always, but sometimes I'm willing to work with a client's budget, but I don't want to be put in a situation where I feel like I'm not going to be able to provide quality because I feel like I'm not getting paid what I am valued or what I feel like I should be valued at, my work. Another example that I wanted to give was food and beverage. Yes, it's expensive. And think even if I go to McDonald's now to just get a fast food Big Mac meal in LA, it's like $12, which is kind of expensive for fast food. When before, I don't even know how much it used to be before, but that's kind of expensive, right? So if you just think of even like a Big Mac meal for 100 people, that's $1,200. Like even $1,200, yes, that's cheap for a wedding, but that's still a lot of money. So like think about if you're going somewhere like a restaurant like Bestia, which John and I love, and it's not a cheap restaurant. Depending on what you order, like how many drinks you have, all of that, our bill can be anywhere from like $250 to like $400 for the two of us. And that just really depends on, all of those things that I just mentioned. Now that's for like a 90-minute dinner at an already, it's like a place with infrastructure, with staff, like that's a running facility. So if you think about a caterer who has to come to your venue with their staff, has to pay their staff, buy everything just for your event, maybe set up a satellite kitchen and all of that, and then have to be on site for 8 hours or more, provide a open bar for 5 hours, and all of the things that go into that. And it's $150 to $250 or more per person. You can kind of see like why the math is like that. I hope, if I'm explaining it that way. So I say all this because I just want to provide context into what vendors do and how they serve, and the preparation that goes into it and the experience they're bringing. And also, if you're looking for like Chanel service and like Chanel offerings and products, you can't be expecting to pay like Zara prices. You know what I mean? It's not to say you can't do it on your own, because you can. But if you are going to hire professionals, then you have to understand there's a cost that comes with it. I think the good thing about being in somewhere like LA is there's so many, like if you're getting married in LA, there's so many vendors starting out, so many range of prices, so many options. And so you can find people to work with within your budget, with the type of format you want. You can do all of that. So, but it takes time to do all the research and to make sure. And so I think it's really important to educate yourself by gathering as much information as possible and being realistic about what you want with the budget that you have. And I really hope, no, I mean, it's never gonna not stop being used, but yeah, that term wedding tax it's not, I just feel like it's unfair to the people who put all the work into it. And, if you wanna know why people are charging, you can totally ask them. Be like, hey, I just wanna understand why this costs this much and what these things are for. I think it's fair for you to ask those questions, but I don't think it's fair for you to try and dictate how they should be charging, if that makes sense. There may be someone who is going to be more of a better fit for you. So I think it's really on the couples to do their due diligence to find someone that's the best fit for them. That's just my 2 cents, I know it's really tough right now, especially like for everyone, like everyone's feeling it. And I'm sure people getting married now, if you're having a tough time, like financially, business owners might be charging more because they're trying to like make ends meet. And you know, I would love to charge less, and I would love to like make things work for people, but it's just it's kind of hard, you know? It's hard all around, and I say this because I think you should give yourself some grace. You should give us some grace. Because you know, we're all here to help. But we also gotta make a living too, you know? Like every month for us, every quarter is an unknown right now, especially as we're getting established, plus the kind of just the times that we're in. And so I just kind of wanted to address it, give some context, give my perspective on that. So I hope that was really, I hope that you found it helpful. If you do just want more information or just have questions about it, or maybe your thoughts or your comments, please drop it in the comments. You can always email me too at connect@uns.com. If you're just getting started, I do have a free wedding planning guide for download. It's in my description below. And next week, I'm going to talk about, I've talked about phases of planning, but I'll be talking about which vendors to tackle in which order, like a little bit more prescriptive. I've talked about like the overall phases, but I'm gonna just talk about which vendors you should kind of tackle, just to be a little more prescriptive. And I am working on something for couples just all over the US, not just in Los Angeles, who are interested in support from me as a planner. I'm looking for about however many couples are interested, or brides, grooms, whoever. So stay tuned for that. And I really appreciate you being here. And I want you to know that I see you. I see you and your wedding budgets. So I get it. And I'm just looking for ways to provide support to people who don't necessarily have a budget for a one-to-one planner or even coordinator. So I would love to hear from you in the comments, whatever you're going through. And if you do want my one-on-one help though, you can always email me as well. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Have a good week.